And welcome to Curtsy Crochet Hooks. Please enjoy our free tutorials with just one of a 24-part series on teaching you how to crochet. Subscribe to start receiving our 24 courses that are delivered to your email inbox every few days. By the time you're done, you'll know the ins and outs of crochet. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So now let's get crocheting with Curtsy.
Dress that at the same time, and again we want to cut the blue maybe about 3 inches. So in order to really hide all of the colors at this point is that you're now going to have 2 left over from your starting chain, and you're going to have now the new gray. So let's begin to work on that, and this line is going to be identical to what you're doing all across every other one. So I'm just going to put these all up as if it was all in one of a chain. And what I want to do is I want to chain one, and I only want to chain it with the actual gray that is actually coming to it. Okay, and so now we want to actually go right into that same stitch. So I'm going to move all the stragglers out of the way. Okay, so we're just going to go into that same stitch, and now what we want to do is we want to put all of the stragglers so that it comes up over top, just like so. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to replace it again. Okay, and now what I want to make sure is that this loop here is actually in front of all the stragglers that we're about to trap into position. I know that sounds confusing, so just work with me here, and we're just going to go into the very first stitch. And the reason for it is that now that they're all on top here, when this goes over and you pull it through, the very next time you go to fasten everything, you see how it's in between this here and that? It's actually going to fasten it all together, just like so. So in actual fact, it's all going to be riding in there. So let's go across this entire line as we single crochet, and I'm going to just keep it going until the stragglers run out. I would drag your stragglers into position, or keep fastening them in at least 2 inches along the way. It doesn't hurt you to go longer, but if you do too short, the potential of it falling out is quite strong if it's too short. So at least by this, when the blanket tightens up onto itself, it's actually going to tighten and hold everything. So what I decided here now is that this here, these blues, I've already run out of the gray. It's long enough, so I'm just going to let them fall in behind and just continue to single crochet myself all the way across. So instead of you just watching me single crochet all the way, just go ahead and do that, and we'll meet back up on the other side in just a second, and we'll show you what to do next. But don't finish this line completely, because again, we have another color change coming right up. Okay, so now we're coming up to the very end, and how do you know you're at the very end? Well, you got to watch the posts, and the posts are the distance in between going up. So that's one post, and then that's the next one there. So basically the stitch is over top the post. So in actual fact, this is your chain right in the end, and you have another post, so in actual fact you have 2 stitches left. So you just got to watch for the posts, and you shouldn't go wrong at any time. So now you still have one more left because the chain is part of the configuration. So do not go into the gap. See this gap? Do not go into that. Actually treat it like it's a chain. And again, just putting it in and pulling it through and holding. And let's just change our color. So now we're actually going to change it to white. So let's begin to wrap our white, just like so. And again, once you get used to it, your straggler might be too generous, so just do your slip knot, and now put it onto your hook, and now pull that white through the 2 gray. And now let's turn our material around. So now it's up to us now to trim our gray. So now we have the white and the gray, and I would recommend that you cut them approximately the same distance, just like so. So using your fancy dancy scissors. And now it's time to work on your next level. Okay, so we want to hide the stragglers like we did before, so we just need to come in and scoop up underneath to get that stitch. So it's just the same stitch that you just came out of. Okay, and we want to make sure the stragglers remain on top, pulling it through and then through. I know that's kind of confusing, but it's the only way to hide it. So there's 1. Okay, we want a total of 4. So going into the next one, keeping the stragglers on top, this is 2. Going into the next, that's 3, and then going to the next one is 4. So why did we go 4? And the reason why we went 4 is that we have here underneath, we had the shell of 4, so this has to match that as well. So now we're in between, and you can see the two blue, and then see how the yellow is in between? Well, we're going to create that as well. So this is the shell in between the other shells that are underneath. And how we know that is that we're looking at this now, and we have 7 stitches in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So basically we have to go in on the 4th. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So using your fingers just to kind of mark your spot, and just go in there and pull through. And this is a double crochet, and you want to do that 7 times into that same hole. Okay, so that was 2, that was 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7. So now what we have to do is just look at it and go to the 4th. So 1, 2, 3, and 4th. Okay, and then you'll see that the 4th is up over top of the other shell underneath, which makes it easier for you to be able to see that. And we want to do 7 single crochets in a row. That was 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. So you can see how this here is matching up to there, so that's good. And now we want to just flip this again, and now create again the next shell that's in between the 2 blue that's on the bottom. So in order to do that, we'd wrap, and now let's count over. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Going on the 4th, make sure that it is actually between the 2 shells. And if not, and say you messed up in some way, you can actually eye it out a little bit. This pattern is actually very forgiving is if you've miscounted somewhere along the way. I like that. I like that about this pattern. So 5, 6, and 7. And again, just like we did before, we counted over to the 4th. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, that's over top of the next shell. That's the blue one that was underneath. And we want to do 7 singles again. This is number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's working out right, because you can see that this is the 7th one here. It's coming up. Perfect. And now we're going and doing the next one. So let's do that again. So wrapping, okay, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're doing 7 double crochets right in a row again, or right in the same hole, sorry. So it's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so now we're looking at it. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we're going in on the 4th, and we should have it so that there should be 4 left on the end. And why should there be 4? Because there was 4 actual shells. So this is 3 and 4. Thank God. That's what I messed up in my last tutorial. This is a retake, to be quite honest with you. So in actual fact, there's what we have so far. So everything's matching perfectly, but what I want you to do now is just pull this out and leave it so that there's only 2 on there. So just pull that out, and we're going to catch it, and we're going to change the color back to blue. And I'm also, you know, because we've been working with this so easily and we've been feeding that in the stragglers, we can safely cut it as we go. So I might as well do that so it cleans it up. I found in the last tutorial that I did for this, these can make it look quite a mess. So let's turn our material and put on our next color. Okay, so off camera I got my blue all ready to go back on, and I'm just going to put it on and pull it through the 2 white and rotate. So now I want to trim the white off, and again, see how the blue straggler is about the same length. I just want to trim those at the same. And now I have my stragglers, I have the new blue. So again, this is the exact same what we did in the gray. This is a single crochet line. So chain up 1 and going into the same stitch, so scoop underneath the stragglers. Okay, so you'll have 2 stragglers, the blue and the white in this case, going into the same stitch that you just did the chain in, and then pull through. So single crochet. So this line at all, you don't have to count anything, you just have to single crochet all the way across, keeping your straggler on top of the line so that it traps it in a position. And again, I would go maybe about at least 2 inches with your stragglers before just deciding that you've gone enough, just to make sure that they don't fall out on you. And you know, crochet is about tying knots anyway. They shouldn't fall out, but if you don't have enough in there, then they could in the end. So let's begin to single crochet, everybody, all the way to the end. We'll catch back up and we're going to change our color back to gray.